Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the match preview. Leicester City versus Everton. Another huge game for Everton as we try and get away from that bottom three where we currently are. Obviously, Burnley play Saturday. Leeds play against Arsenal exactly the same time we're playing. And we have to go to Leicester and get something. Big opportunity. Certainly after they were playing Thursday night in the Europa Conference League, they will have hopefully exhausted themselves. Well, I mean, they didn't look like they exhausted themselves, to be fair, in the game, but hopefully they'll have exhausted themselves a little bit going into this game.
Yeah, obviously losing. They were, unlucky, lost 2-1 overall, and it's emotionally tough, isn't it? When you're so close to a final of a European trophy, and would have been amazing for them to get there and to go down to a narrow defeat, and you've put such effort into it. They're safe in the Premier League, playing a Thursday night in Italy and travelling back, day of recovery, 1 day's training, you've got another game. It doesn't really mean that much to them. Hopefully they're a little bit subdued after the disappointments of it, and Everton can take advantage of it. It'll be tough. They're a good side. Yeah. We've seen them at Goodison the other week. They keep the ball really well. Albeit they didn't really threaten us after scoring at Goodison too much, but they did have all the ball, and Everton will have to be patient, resolute, and hopefully when the opportunity comes our way, take the chance.
Yeah, it's a big one, because I think we've had a lot of games where obviously at home, where for us it was a huge game, and maybe for the opposition it wasn't as big a game. We had likes of Burnley where it was a must not lose for both sides. Unfortunately, we lost it. Whereas this one feels like for the first time in an away game, we are playing someone who's not really got loads on the game, and it's an opportunity for us to catch them. But that brings its own pressures as well, because it is a must win for us. So the pressure is on us. It's not on Leicester. Leicester's season will just, for them, they will try and win as many games as they can, what they've got left, and they'll have had an all right season. It's not great, but in terms of getting to a semi-final, obviously if they'd got to the final, would have given that little bit of extra for the end of the season. But they'll be down, their fans will be down, but they'll also want to sort of take it out on us, I think, and that's where it does give it just that little bit of, we've got to just be careful, but at the same time, we've got to win the game, and we've got to get out there and want it more. And I think if we want it more, that gives you half a chance, doesn't it? Well, it gives you more than half a chance. I mean, if it comes down, I think at this time of the season, we've seen with the results recently, not just us, but from other sides, it's all about who wants it more. It's been a long, hard season. A lot of players now are just looking at that beach, And for a lot of players, this is a good opportunity. They wouldn't have had opportunities to go away on holiday with everything we've had for the last couple of years. Course, this will be their first proper rest for a long time. There's no big tournament. So for some of those players, they'll be like, I just can't wait to finish. Now, our cup, for them, their biggest game of the season was on Thursday, and everything now is just seeing the season. And we've seen that loads of times. So Everton must go there and must earn the right to take 3 points. So it's week 36 of Ultimate Fan. And if you've downloaded the app, you know that the packs are available now. Let's get into it. Let's see. It's the free breaks pack. This is the one you get for free every week if you just played the game without a subscription. Let's see who I've got. I have got Alex Iwobi. Interesting. Back in a little bit of form. Everton have got 2 games this week. Interesting. Connor Cody. Wolves have got a couple of games coming up as well. That's an interesting one in defence. And I have got from Aston Villa, Chukwuemeka. If that's how you pronounce his name. Tremendous name. He won't be getting in my team. Right, I have a gold pack. This is the one you get when you play. And you pay $4.99 a month for your subscription. You get 2 gold cards guaranteed and a silver card. Let's see who I've got in the gold pack. I have got Kulusevski from Spurs, who's been doing very, very, very well recently. Got him. Tottenham got 2 huge games this week. Liverpool and Arsenal in their quest for 4th place. I've also got Son from Tottenham. Again, Arsenal and Liverpool this week. Could he get some big points to push them towards the Champions League? And I've got Wilfried Zaha, who scored the winning goal for Crystal Palace against Southampton last week. They're at home to Watford. It's an interesting one. And also I've got a winners pack from winning my little mini group on Ultimate Fan. Let's see who I've got. I've got Abdoulaye Doucouré. There you go, a silver card. And Everton have got, obviously, Leicester and Watford coming up this week. So there you go. They are my cards this week in the packs. Check out who you've got this week. There's a silver subscription for $2.99, a gold subscription for $4.99, or you could just simply play for free. There's lots of offers as well on the app, so make sure you download it now and make sure you check out Ultimate Fan.
Absolutely. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because I think the last 6 games at Leicester, they've won 3 and Everton have won 3. So it's not bad. I think the previous games before, I think the previous 5 before them were all draws. So, we've done okay there in recent times, relatively speaking. But yeah, for them, when you play a big game like that semi-final was, played a lot of games this season, Leicester, and they've had injuries as well. It comes at that stage where you're knackered, and emotionally, like we said, they've been at 2 European competitions, fell out of one and into the other, and Thursday, Sunday. And it's got to this stage now, and you're right for them. A couple of weeks' time will be like, get our feet up. And how do you lift yourself after the disappointment of that? Everything will have been built around that second leg. They drew 1-1 at home, went to Rome. At least take it to extra time and then penalties if you can't get a way through. So Everton have to try to take advantage of it. And it's difficult because I spoke to a couple of people yesterday and they were saying, I want Leicester to get beat. So that emotionally they're done in. And I was like, I actually want them to win. So it's interesting to see which side of the fence, because you don't know how they'll react. They might come back and let's prove something to ourselves. But have you got that energy when it doesn't really mean anything? You said it before. It's happened to us loads, not losing European semis, but just getting to this stage of the season and there's nothing on the game and the other team have got something to play for. And I remember Sunderland a few years ago coming to Goodison and near the end of the season, we were mid-table with nothing. They beat us 2-0. I don't think they'd won like 1 away game and they beat us comfortably because we were just flat. And we've gone to Fulham a few years ago. Sheffield United beat us last year at home. So we've been that team where there isn't that much on it. Sometimes when you drop your level, you can get caught. But
you can't count on that. Or at least if that happens, you've got to be in a position to take the advantage, haven't you? You've got to be in that position. And we'd have had a week's break. They've obviously had the European game, as we said. And, it'll be interesting to see as well what they do with their team, whether they completely change it because, or he thinks, well, actually, there's some players who deserve to play or whatever. It's really difficult to say which way they're going. Like you said then, if they'd won the game, then they would have made they might change every single play because that's all that matters now. But with losing it, they might be like, well, let's try and bounce back as fast. It's really hard to know. But then the other side of it is the physical side of it, isn't it? How many of those players will be physical, ready to play. But we know they're going to have loads of the ball. It doesn't matter which Leicester side, whether it be their best 11 or whatever comes after that plays. We know they're going to have a lot of the ball. They had most of the ball. Well, they had more than half the ball against Roma. They're a possession-based side. And for me, what it is not getting caught up in that. If they want to have the ball, let them have the ball. Just don't go chasing it around the field. Let them have it in a manner that, where it's just centre-backs passing to each other and midfielders passing it, across the line rather than going anywhere with it. That's the trick you can't fall into. I think when we played them at home, when we went 1-0 down, for 20 minutes, not only did they have the ball, but we were running around like headless chickens trying to win it back instead of just... I think that was the difference with the second half. The second half at home, we calmed down. We let them have the ball, but then when we pinched it in good areas, we tried to do something with it. But what we didn't, you can waste so much energy against teams like Leicester by running around and getting pulled out of position. But if you just sit in your shape, and we've seen it last weekend to Chelsea and Anfield the week before, just stay in your shape. don't, let them wear themselves out. You stay in your positions.
And then hit them on the
And I think that's where the last couple of weeks, that kind of, the way we've been playing will come in handy in this game, because they will have a lot of the ball. They're a really good possession side, but just don't let them pull you out of position. Just stay in your zones, and just do what you need to do, what you've been told to do.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're not going to gain anything. We're not as fit as them, like in terms of mobility. We don't have the same mobility what they do. We saw that at Goodison. The very mobile side. We're not like that. So, but what we have seen in the last few weeks, and what we did see that night at Goodison, was we stayed in the game. And for the last half an hour, we were the better side. Really, we were the team. But on that night, despite them having all the ball, we could have scored 4 goals. Richarlison missed 2 great real good chances that he should have scored before he equalised.
Yeah.
And we didn't even play very well that night, really. Probably our poorest performance of the last few. So we've got to go there, do what we did at Anfield, break the game up. They mightn't like it, but that's the way it is. That's where, Kasper Schmeichel was wasting time after 2 minutes at Goodison the other week, and ironically Everton scored an injury time because he was wasting the time. So we've got to do the same, and it doesn't matter what happens. Stay in your shape, like you said, stay compact, be the team that can break on the counter, and Leicester, if they can get caught on the counter. And that's what it comes down to. And they're not as good as possession side as they are. They're mid-table for a reason. They're not amazing. They've had injuries as well, don't get me wrong, but we know that Everton have had 10 more injuries than anybody, I think it is. So we've had injuries as well. So we've just got to go out, stick to our guns, and take something from the game. If we could win, catch them cold, it would put Everton in a tremendous position.
Yeah, especially going into Wednesday night, setting it up for the game against Watford away. And obviously we know how bad the away record is. Just one win all season. That has to change in these 2 games. And if we could get it in this game, if we could catch Leicester in after that game and put that to bed, get Frank Lampard's first away win, then you're going into the game against Watford and you're thinking, right, we've had that win now. We get another win tonight, and we're on our way with 2 home games coming up. I know it's a lot easier to say than it is to do, but we've got to be in that position. We've got to be a little bit smarter than we were, like when we went to Burnley, when we were 2-1 up and then we're gallivanting all over the pitch, and your right back is in a centre midfield position and getting caught. And we have to be a lot more savvy, and we have been in the last few weeks. But we've got to in these 2 games, and as I said, it's going to be the little it's the fine margins in these games as well. Set pieces, Leicester are not great at set pieces. They conceded another one against Roma.
17 for the season.
That's where the deliveries have got to be spot on. The ball into the box has got to be spot on. And then you're hoping that a Yerry Mina or a Decore or Richarlison or even a Dominic Calvert-Lewin, might be there. Because what would you bring Dom into the side with that? Because I don't think they like going up against a proper traditional target man. The Leicester defence, especially if it's not their first choice. Do you think, or do you think we'd be better working them with Richarlison?
It's hard, isn't it? Because Dom, when he's played, just hasn't been fit. So he looked like a shadow of himself. Do you know what I mean? And he's not pressing in the same way and all that. But Richarlison is better wide. So then Damari Gray he comes out, and he had a decent game last week, but does he come out to give Dom a go? I think Calvert-Lewin will be on the bench. I think he'll go with the same front 3 and just try to hit them on the counter-attack. Yeah. But Dom, you're right. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin's in the side, he can get on the end of crosses and stuff. You can give them a different option, and Richarlison, like you said, seems to be better coming off the left. In fact, he played off the left against these last season and scored when he cut in and hit it and put us ahead, didn't he? So, I don't know. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure of the physical state of Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? It's hard to know. I mean, that would be a good scenario to be in, but we just don't know. And he didn't come off the bench last week, in the last 10 minutes. And that sort of gives you an indication of where he is, to me, to put Rondon on instead of him, for the last 10 minutes. He's not. It doesn't seem like he's in the kind of shape to be doing that kind of running around, but it's going to be interesting. I think tactically it could be quite interesting as well. I know Vardy played against Roma and he's back, and people probably think that he wouldn't play in this game, but you never know, because if he's back from injury, the manager might think, well, if he's back and he's fit, you know what he's like. I know he's had injury problems all season, and you know they are starting to catch up with him, the age.
I don't think he'll play.
No, but he. What I mean is though, if he does play, it gives us it's a different tactical feel, doesn't it? Because when he plays, Leicester will look for that ball over the top a lot more than they will when, you know, other times when they're just knocking it around and stuff. So I suppose we've got to be mindful of that, because he's still lightning. And if we get, you know, because they might look at it and think, if we can draw Everton out, and we won't want to be drawn out. So it does, you know, Everton, I think Everton have just got to make sure whatever's Leicester's plan is, don't worry about it. Just stick to what we do. And what, in the last couple of weeks, you know, has helped us look a little bit more solid. And listen, I know we got beat by Liverpool, but for an hour we were looking solid, and obviously just the way they played.
Talking about one of the best teams in the world, and we only conceded because Coleman went to sleep early after Mark Roberts.
Yeah.
That was the way it is. If you make that one error that's in the net against top sides, that's what happens. And I think what we have to do, I think it's easy to plan against Leicester because they don't change the way they play. They always have the ball. When they had Ranieri and Puel, they let you have the ball, and they won the league with, what was it, 28% or 24% possession. They drew you up to the halfway line and knocked it, and Vardy was in behind. They're different now. They dominate the ball. Yeah. So I think there's no point going. I think what Everton did wrong in the opening half an hour at Goodison against them was they went trying to press them on the thing, and they just sucked you in. And then what they did for the last half an hour, they just sat in and went, no, we'll just take you on the counter then. And it was a lot easier to play against them. They started not knowing what to do then, and gaps appeared. And if we go trying to chase them, nothing around, they'll destroy us. So treat them like Chelsea, treat them like Liverpool, who are teams who have a lot of the ball, and just go, no, like you just said before. Stay in our shape, and when we do nick the ball, and I think the Corey's key at that, because I think he's really come back strongly since he was left out, come back against Liverpool, he's had a couple of really good games, he's great at nicking it, and then we break with the pace. We do that, we can catch them.
What do you think the mentality would be though? I mean, obviously, you want to win the game.
It's don't get beat.
Yeah.
It's got to be. It's got to be. Ideally, 4 o'clock, we're buzzing, we've gone and won, and then we've caught Leicester out. They're a little bit cold, and then they bounce back the last couple of games. But we've took advantage. Everton have got to take advantage of the situation. I don't think you can go and go, we've got to win this game. Because if Everton took 4 points out the next 2 away from home, they have 36 points with 2 home games to come. You win them 2, you've got 42. You ain't going down on 42 points. There's no chance. So you've got to put yourself in that position to get the points where you know what you've got to do. You might not need 42 points, you know what I mean? It depends what other teams
I'd rather have them than not.
Oh, without a shadow. Let's go and get the 6 points in the next 2 games. But these are a good side, but they're not unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination. So if Everton stick to their game plan, break the game up, make them a little bit frustrated. You've seen it with so many teams where I watched them, a little bit of them against Villa the other week, and the pair of them were a bit like, you know what I mean? It was just looked like an end of season game, and we've got to be the ones who, yes, it matters to us, but just don't get beat. Yeah,
and obviously they got beat last week at Spurs 3-1, didn't they, as well? They looked all right at times, but then Spurs just took the chances.
But you've got to do, haven't you?
Yeah. Let's just have a little look at Leicester's team that they played against Roma.
So they've
in that game they went with lots of pace up front. The 3 in the midfield, who you mentioned before, very mobile, but obviously the full-backs, very mobile as well, and they went with the strongest centre-back partnership as well. So it will be interesting to see how many of those do remain, because he has been making, obviously, game-to-game changes. When they played those last time at Goodison, he had the full team out, but on the Sunday when they got beat by Newcastle, they'd had the change side because they played on the Thursday. So, you know, it is different now because, obviously, they're out of that competition. It will be interesting to see.
I still think I think they'll have 7 changes on Sunday. Yeah. I just think loading the players. I think they've got 3 games left of the year. They play 30? Hang on, Leicester 30. They've got 5 games left. The same.
5?
Same as us. Play 33. They will have done, won't they? Because it's Europe. Yeah. But they play 33 like us. They've got games. So for them, there's no point in overloading players on Sunday when they've got another game in midweek and all that. So for him, and their squad is quite strong. I imagine he'll make 7 changes for that game.
Make 9.
Depends. The lads coming in, though, do the business.
No, I know.
It's difficult to know what you're going to get, but in general, Brendan Rodgers' teams all play the same way. Yeah. The threat will be maybe Iheanacho, and we've seen it Goodison, he just plays in a 3-yard space, doesn't move, does he? But he's dangerous in front of goal. So
let's have a look at James Maddison's numbers from this season.
Yeah, there you go. 31 games, 24 starts, 8 goals, 5 assists. Averages 2.1 shots per game. He's always a threat, obviously. Dead balls, he's a threat. If you give him space 25 yards out, he can ping one in the top corner from nowhere. So you know that he's a real threat. A lot of games at times pass him by, but if you give him that space, he can destroy. He's got the ability.
He's a very talented footballer, very talented footballer. As you just said there, it's when he gets the time and the space, he normally does something with it. So, listen, it's a tough game. It you know, if you wanted to play Leicester City, this is probably the right time to play them. All the teams recently have been benefiting from having games against teams who've got very little to play for, but you have to execute the plan. You have to take advantage when you've got something to play for and they haven't. You've got to be in that position, and that's all we can ask from, I think, from the Everton team on Sunday, is that they do that, is that they're there and take advantage of any opportunity that Leicester City provide for us, and make it one of those games for them where their players are just like, oh, I can't be arsed with this. Be horrible, be nasty, be niggly, be in their faces. Show what it means to us. Show what the game means to us, because, you know, these 2 away games, we can't just turn around going, oh, another 2 away games. We've got to get some points out of these games.
These done it years ago. They were going down.
Yeah. Turned it round.
Pearson, and did unbelievable near the end.
And then won the league the next year.
So there you go.
Just challenge for you, Everton.
48% of the Premier League meetings between Leicester and Everton have ended in draws. It's the highest percentage of any of the 92 fixtures that have been played. At least 30 times. I'm not going to shade that one. Everton have won fewer points away from home than any other side in the Premier League, with 6. No side's lost more away games than Everton. Got to do that, haven't you? Everton have won 2 of the last 4 Premier League games, as many as they had in their previous 14. That's just berserk, isn't it? Richarlison scored 5 of his 7 Premier League games against Leicester. Against no other side has he scored more goals.
Come on, Richie lad.
And he's obviously been booked 9 times. I mean, when you're looking at that, like Everton have got, there's been a real change since Palace in the Cup. I think for Everton, the structure's been better, and although we came back with 2 defeats after that, West Ham, you know, we played at West Ham with 10 men for over half an hour and lost to a mistake. We then went to Burnley and should have won the game and give 2 stupid errors away and lost the game. But in general, we were better. But then the last 4 fixtures, Everton took 7 points out of 12.
Yeah.
You know, that's include Manchester United, Liverpool and Chelsea in that, and Leicester, who were a good side. When we were going into those 4 games, pundits and other people going, we won't get Everton to get no points in the next 4, and they took 7. You know, and at home, the last 4 games has been 10 points from 12 with 1 goal conceded. So there's been an upturn, absolutely. The structure, like you said before, has been important in the last couple of games, and we have to take it in. If we go to Leicester and get something, a win's what we all want, but even a draw, you're building, you're adding the points on the board.
Absolutely. Let's hope so. Let's hope for a positive result, because,
do or die. 5 games to go.
My insides can't take any more of this.
Stress.
Yeah. And anyone who's going, you know what you've got to do, Blues.
Make the noise.
You know what you've got to do. Let's make it like a mini version of last week, last Sunday.
Sure it will be.
Sure it will be. There you go. Make sure you check out the Ultimate Fan app. Link is in the description. Give this video a like, subscribe, and if you want more videos, daily live videos, join us over on Patreon, where we do, as I said, daily live videos. The link is in the description, and the QR code will be on the screen in about 4 seconds. See you later.